It's Jamie here. Y'all like trams, right? YouTube Analytics said ya really like trams. This video is about trams. Please clap. This video is brought to you in part by the Netherlands. No, it wasn't. I just wanted to say that. This video is actually about more than just trams, though. We're revisiting the topic of small city transit. Now, this is not my first video on small city tram networks, and will probably not be the last. Several months back, I talked about Nordhausen in Thuringia, a town of just over 40,000 people that has not only its own tram network, but also steam trains that operate as normal regional trains. Really cool place. Special shout out to the old women I met at the bakery at the Bahnhof there, who kept me company while waiting for my friend's train to arrive. Y'all were very sweet. I have nothing but nice things to say about Nordhausen. But today we're in a very different part of Germany. Berlin! Near Berlin. 3 cities near Berlin in the state of Brandenburg. And for this, I needed an expert on Berlin. Someone who truly knows these places better than anyone else. My chariot awaits.
Welcome to Schöneiche.
Yeah, that's right. It's Brusco. I'll steal your thunder. Special guest Brusco. Berlin has a very expansive S-Bahn network and tram network of its own, but as it turns out, these are so expansive that they can even connect to systems in outlying areas. We have 3 different cities to talk about today, of 2 of these systems alone being reachable by Berlin's S3 line. Oh, and also on that line, a horizontal elevator. So tell me what's supposed to happen here.
So you go up there, then the elevator moves horizontally over there, and then bottoms out there.
The issue is kaputt. Anyways, let's head down to S-Bahn to the Friedrichshagen stop, home to 2 different tram stops. Is the right side tram a regular Berlin tram?
Right side is a regular Berlin tram.
And left side is
The Schöneiche tram.
Schöneiche tram. On one side of the S-Bahn station, you'll find just a normal Berlin tram stop. But on the other, you'll find this. A meter gauge tramway operated by these unidirectional Tatra trams, which used to be absolutely goddamn everywhere in the former East Germany. Yo! It's the fucking shitter!
Some train reviews do toilet reviews on trains.
Yo! Oh my god! It's the English toilet. It's the Berlin
It's
toilet.
even free reviews.
Oh my god!
And it's self-cleaning.
No, it's time for a toilet review. Nope, it's right. Welcome to the Straßenbahn Schöneiche by Berlin. First constructed in 1910, this mostly single-track tram network line operates every 10 to 20 minutes most of the time, running from Friedrichshagen at the western end to Woltersdorf in the east. Behold the whole SRS network. By the way, speaking of SRS, trans one watching, probably with a name like Robin or Sky or Jadzia Dax or some shit, this is for you. So, tram system, we're saying.
Yeah.
Though technically it's not, because it's the same operators as in Woltersdorf.
Yeah.
So 2 lines of a network, but its own system. It covers 20 stops over a distance of just 14 kilometers, the core of the network being in Schöneiche by Berlin, a town of literally just 13,000 people. My favorite thing about Tatra is that you can feel the suspension. You really can. Who will?
Hi.
What's your thoughts on the Tatra?
They're very boxy and very Eastern Europe.
You can smell the borscht. Oh my god. I feel like I'm going to be a dumbass like me in film. Hold on with both hands.
I know.
This is what I've been leaning against, by the way. Imagine this going into your shoulder when you turn. It's lovely.
It did that already. It hurts.
It hurts. This network has received a bunch of upgrades over the years too. The Tatra Brusco and I were riding on, for instance, had been retrofitted at some point from a 2-wagon design to a 3-wagon design, with the central carriage actually having level boarding, which is really cool. If they can retrofit their old Tatras to be wheelchair accessible, there's no reason that your city's tram network can't have accessible transit. Anyways, there are cars over there, and we are easily beating the cars. This is incredibly respectable for a tram. Holy crap. They also got some other used trams from other European networks as well, including this Helsinki tram here. If you look at it, that over there, I believe is...
That's Berlin.
Yeah, that's Berlin. And that's Berlin.
Right here.
But as far as tariff zone goes, that's in Berlin, AB for the first two. And then this is in C.
Yep.
So we have Berlin, Schöneiche, Woltersdorf.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce those, or did I butcher it?
You did it correct.
Oh, thank God. I get so nervous about that. Even when I practice, I feel like I butcher things half the time. This route here is Route 88 in the Berlin tram numbering scheme. However, it is not actually a Berlin tram. While the trams in Berlin are run by the BVG, who also runs the U-Bahn and made that wonderful Tariff Zone Liebe musical, this is actually run by the Schöneiche Woltersdorf Straßenbahn, or SRS for short. I just realized something. Nordhausen has been very nice. Maybe it's because the sheer amount of like dedicated right-of-way, but we have complete signal priority. We've not been stopped at like a single light or anything.
Yeah.
This is very, very good. Some of the stops are really small though, basically bus stops, but do they need to be anything more? That was a bit of a curve.
It's a tight one.
No kidding. So I must say that last curve was tight. Maybe could use a little bit of stretching, you know, really work it up. But I think it was a very nice tram ride on the whole. What do y'all think? Oh, yeah? You okay, sweetie?
Yeah.
Xander's here. How are you feeling?
Tired.
The ride was very dramatic, with all the jolts and curves and stuff.
No kidding, I think I might be bruised. The SRS also runs the most famous of the small town tram lines near Berlin, the Woltersdorf tram. This is also actually our next stop on the S-Bahn. If the Schöneiche tram feels more so like a regular commuter tram, the Woltersdorf tram feels part commuter tram, part tourist tram, probably because of how much of the route is doubled up by hiking trails. Interesting, so I'm guessing, so these are bi-directional. So I guess it just goes down this.
Just stop there and
Oh, so they don't even use, oh weird.
this loop here was used when they used Beiwagen, so the trailers.
Oh, that's
So
weird.
you needed to shunt the engine around.
These are also much newer.
And made in Poland.
Made in Poland. Which manufacturer is that?
Motrans.
Woltersdorf used to actually run these really cool Gotha T57 rail cars, which like the Tatros were really popular in the former East Germany. They ran these all the way until the end of 2024 actually. So another thing I should mention is this one, like the 88, is also run by the SRS, so technically the same network, though they are treated as two completely different systems, which makes sense because both lines use completely different rolling stock, they're different gauge. One's bi-directional, one uses turn loops, like they're completely different from one another. Woltersdorf also used to have its own tram operator, the Woltersdorfer Straßenbahn, or WS, but they were taken over with a 22.5-year contract by the SRS in 2020. That also came in order for some new trams, the equally as funky as the Tatras and Gothas, Modernist Gamma trams from Poland. I do not like that texture. They entered service back in January 2025 after being tested throughout last year. I gotta say, of any modern tram I've ridden on, especially standard gauge trams, these are definitely the smallest. Great ride quality though.
Small tram. Very small tram. Heckin' small tram.
Woltersdorf's network, it's one line again, is even smaller than Schöneiche's as well, serving 11 stops from Bahnhof Ronsdorf all the way to Woltersdorf Straussee. Just over 5.5 kilometers of route, with a lot of single tracking, windy curves, and only 11 stops, some of which, again, look like glorified bus stops. Smallest line is, this was completely isolated from like the Berlin network, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting, like literally just like a strip of track with like a turning loop here or there, hitting 9 stations.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
But my goodness is this short route scenic. It's right near the Köpenick Forest, leading to some truly gorgeous views. Not to mention, but the tram line really does manage to squeeze in, not needing tram loops on either side due to these being bi-directional. Oh my god, it's really cute.
Yeah.
Though, oh, you can see where the term shed is. So does some short turn here?
Yeah. And on the special occasions, yeah.
This route has ebbed and flowed over the years. There are 6 stops on the original version of the route, which first operated in 1913, which closed in the 1940s and 50s. And yet, perhaps due to the DDR government being nicer to town tramways than the Western German government was, the route itself persists to this day. To anyone who tells you that Hamburg cannot support a tram or that they should keep space for... No, even like fucking Kranz in the middle of nowhere of Hamburg could support a tram.
We're talking 8,000 people living here.
8,000 people. Literally 9 stops. Like, I literally see the destination. It's been like not even 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Woltersdorf is home to only 8,372 people as of the 2023 census. That's right. 8,000 people. And they have a tramway. What's your town's excuse for not having at least consistent bus service? Look at you, Stade. Why don't the buses run until 1 p.m. on Sundays? I love these two networks. They are so funky and cool with pretty good frequencies as well. Number 87 to Woltersdorf here runs on a 20-minute tact most of the day. And while I would normally consider that not great for a tramway, for the small area it serves, I think it's more than good enough.
This tram system from 1 to Jamie, what is it?
Okay, I will say I think, what was it, Schöneiche?
Schöneiche?
Yeah, Schöneiche I thought was a bit more interesting because of the narrow gauge and whatnot, and it had the foamer platform. This one's very cool, but I think Schöneiche was cooler. So overall, I give this one it's worth the 15-minute ride out of 10. Speaking of good enough, or rather having enough, at this point, Brusco had listened to me prattle on about tramways and my Sonic the Hedgehog OTPs long enough.
Yeah, everything else is not possible here.
As such, he headed back home and to Berlin proper, while I headed to Wedding, where I gave a talk the next day about my experience working in the games industry at the Amaze Festival. And the audience there was, believe it or not, my friend Felix. What in the absolute AKN fuck is this?
Absolute fuck.
Here, I'm vlogging. You want to say hi, Felix?
Hello.
I traded a Brusco for a Felix. And Felix informed me that there was one more small town tramway in Berlin, and that this tramway was in denial about being a tramway. We have 8 minutes to catch a tram.
Oh well.
Fuck. Is he a tram? Oh god. I'm fat. Wait for me. This is just a normal ass Berlin tram. But isolated line, right? Tram number 89, the Strausberg Railway? Very cool for this tram is that it seems to mostly just do request stops, which actually the 87 and 88 also did.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah. Very unique to the
Berlin.
Kleinstrassenbahn.
Just Berlin network.
Yeah.
Like Braunschweig, they still do that too. Zurich also still operates like a stop on request.
Also, something tells me there used to be even more small town tramways around Berlin, judging by these ones being 87, 88, and 89. There is actually another one technically, the Schmuckwitz-Grunau Uferbahn, number 86, which runs in the southeastern outskirts of Berlin. But I did include that one here because it's actually run by the BVG, who granted between 2006 and 2011 tried repeatedly to close it, and failed every time. See, that's the power of community activism. Let's go to the depot. Let's all go to the depot. By owning some older rolling stock, including a test tram that was actually run in New Orleans, they mostly run these old stock normal Berlin trams. However, what's also really odd here is the operator, the STE, the Strausberger Eisenbahn.
Wait, you see, they're an Eisenbahn.
Yes, not a even though it's a tram.
Yeah.
They're using trams. It's a tram number, Eisenbahn.
Yes, legally speaking. Legally speaking, it's complicated.
Now, Eisenbahn is German word for railways as compared to Strassenbahn, a tramway, literally street railway. So this is a tram network that first ran in 1893, numbered like a tram network that perhaps thinks it's a heavy rail railway. More importantly, the track is painted white. Okay.
So, in order to achieve closer turn radiuses, they have two pieces of track here.
Okay.
So if we come over to the axle over here, which is indeed welded down, as you can see there, we have this piece here. which is forcibly, this little piece here, the flange, is forcibly put between these two tracks. And in order to achieve a tighter turning radius, the outer track only has the top of the track. So, as you can see here, it's riding on the inside ridge here.
Oh.
So, that was in use, according to the sign at least, up till 2005.
Still a lot of single track, still a lot of bus station S stops. It's a short route of only 6 kilometers featuring 10 stops. Oh, and in the evenings the trams only run hourly. And trams, as it turns out, run the risk of leaving some stops early, even the termini. So we were supposed to have 10 minutes here. The tram has just left.
Slightly, well, it turns out I think we arrived slightly delayed, unfortunately.
How did it get delayed? It's the only tram train.
Okay, we're in Germany, okay? Don't question when something gets delayed, okay? I myself should know.
We have 45 minutes. Being stranded in tiny Strausberg isn't so bad though. First off, the terms of the town proper is early called the Pleasure Garden. Oh, I have a fun fact about the feet here. The feet here represent the fact that you're better off walking.
But you're not, because when you get halfway down the line, the next tram's already gonna be there.
I mean, the thing is that when it runs, it's a great service. 13 minutes to cover an hour-and-a-half walk is awesome, and the fact it exists alone is cool. But compared to what the SRS is doing in like Schöneiche or Woltersdorf,
yeah, they're doing a great job compared to this.
And a short walk down the block to the lakeside helped us understand why.
Wait a minute, I gotta double check this. Hold on.
Is this? What is this?
I think this is the ferry that's powered by electricity.
Yes, it is!
It's the electric ferry powered by overhead wires.
What the hell? I've always wanted to see this. No, I'm serious. I didn't know it was here. Oh my god, this is beautiful.
Also, I think the ferry has people on it. Are they doing a party?
Not only was this one of the most incredible, gorgeous sunset lake views I had ever seen in my life, but as a foamer, I was happy to see that this was also home to the Straussee Ferry, the only electric cable ferry in Germany. As it turns out, you can rent it out in the evenings for parties, as a group had done here, so I wasn't able to ride it. As it turns out, the Strausberg tram is very, very cool because we have taken a tram connected to Berlin S-Bahn all the way to one of the very rare still existent ferries that are powered by an overhead wire. And that is just so cool to me. I am unironically in the foam zone. As for how it works, the ferry is attached to the cable here, which powers it like a tram and also tethers it to the shores as it goes between each side of the lake. So Strausberg is really cool. And it's also the largest city we're talking about today with a whopping 28,000 people. For comparison, Stade, my town, is 47,000 people. And I've heard people, particularly in and around Hamburg, call this like a small Dorf before. But all three of these towns we covered have their own trams. What I'm getting at is that just because a town is smaller doesn't mean it doesn't deserve good transit. I've been all over the world, and from US to Canada to Singapore to Germany, I've been to places and all of them with great and not so great transit, and if you're in the latter, ask yourself before promptly getting involved in speaking up about this stuff. If the likes of Schöneiche, Woltersdorf, and Strausberg can have tiny tramways or regular service and level boarding trams, why don't you deserve at least half-decent bus service on a regular basis? You deserve better than half-decent, you deserve good.
Somebody dropped their bicycle.
That's sad. Anyways, let's answer a viewer question. I've talked before in both long and short form videos about the Siemensbahn to Friedhofsbahn, two abandoned S-Bahn lines in Berlin, the latter of which is actually set to be reactivated at some point. The Siemensbahn, which ran from Jungfernheide to the appropriately named Siemensstadt, is probably the most famous, or I guess infamous, of all abandoned S-Bahn routes that still remain abandoned today. So today's question simply is, what did the S in S-Bahn stand for? Or very specifically, wait, did the S in S-Bahn actually stand for Siemensbahn? And I know some folks are laughing, but that's actually a really good question. But no. Depending on where you are, it can stand for Stadtbahn, Schnellbahn, even Stadtschnellbahn, or even nothing at all. Yeah, the S stands for S-Bahn in some places, or S-Train. I guess technically making it, in some cases, S-Bahn. This station's a cross-platform transfer between the Berlin U-Bahn and S-Bahn.
So the S5 and the U5, very conveniently, both 5.
Both 5. 55, if you will. U5, S5.
I'm confused with the U55 that did exist.
Yes, very different. But to be fair, the U55 is now just rolled up into the U5.